Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we try to cut through the noise. Most people, probably myself included, might think a network video recorder is just a fancy DVR, something that just sits there and records. But what if I told you that a device like this one, the Uniview NVR502-16B-IQ, is actually more like an intelligent brain, capable of turning raw video into useful insights, and maybe even feeding the AI systems that are, well, changing whole industries? We've got some really interesting sources on this piece of hardware, and our mission today to sort of peel back the layers and show you how it's way more sophisticated than you might think. Maybe you're prepping for a meeting looking into this field, or you're just curious about how modern security really works. Well, get ready for some, hopefully, aha moments. Okay, let's unpack this.
Indeed. And what's fascinating here, I think, is how this specific product, the NVR502-16B-IQ, it really works as a great case study. It helps us understand what modern video surveillance needs, the capabilities, the demands. It's not just about having solid hardware, though that's important. It's how that hardware supports the advanced features, things that ensure it's reliable, comprehensive, and intelligent. So yeah, this deep dive will connect the dots between capturing really high-def video using smart analytics and the critical role these devices play in managing just vast amounts of visual data effectively, and often, like you said, as a key part of bigger AI systems.
Okay, so let's start at the core. If IP cameras are the eyes, then this Uniview NVR502-16B-IQ, it really is the brain, maybe the central nervous system. It's a 16-channel network video recorder. That means it can handle up to 16 different cameras. And it's not just passively collecting video, right? It's described as being built for reliable and scalable video surveillance management. Okay, what does reliable and scalable really mean in practice for someone actually setting up a system?
That's a good analogy, the central nervous system, because it is managing those 16 streams, not just recording. And that centralized control is what makes it scalable. It means you can start with, say, 8 cameras and add more later, up to 16, without needing to, rip everything out and start over. That's a big step up from older analog systems. With IP cameras, you get more flexibility, usually better quality video too. So reliable and scalable means it's robust enough for day-to-day operation, and you can expand it as your needs grow. Perfect for a small business, an office floor, maybe specific points in a bigger site. That ability to grow is a huge plus.
Got it. Now let's talk image quality, because that's usually what people notice first, right? This NVR promises crystal clear video quality, and it supports recording resolutions up to 16 megapixels. 16. That ensures ultra-high definition video capture.
That seems incredibly sharp, like almost cinematic quality, constantly watching. It is incredibly sharp, and the real benefit isn't just the clarity when you watch it live, it's the detail you can pull out later. Being able to zoom in on recorded footage and still see fine details like a license plate or maybe a specific action happening in the background, that's crucial for investigation, for forensics, things that honestly were like science fiction not that long ago.
But okay, playing devil's advocate here, 16 megapixels sounds amazing, but does that ever become overkill? Like, does it create other problems, maybe with processing or network load, even with advanced compression? Is there a point of diminishing returns for, say, the average user?
That's a really practical point. And yes, you need to balance it. The NVR itself is built to handle it with strong processing and that compression we'll talk about. But your cameras, your network switches, your cabling, they all need to be up to the task too. For general surveillance, maybe 4K, which is about 8 MP, is often plenty. But if you have a critical area, a cache register, a main entrance, a high-value asset storage, that 16 MP detail can be invaluable. It really shifts things from just reacting to figuring out exactly what happened, sometimes even seeing things you wouldn't have caught otherwise. And that super fine detail, that's also gold for AI systems that analyze video for subtle patterns or anomalies. So it makes the NVR more than a recorder. It's a high-fidelity data source.
Right. Which brings us back to the data. All that high-res video means absolutely massive files. That's always the bottleneck, isn't it? So how does this NVR502-16B-IQ deal with that? How does it stop you from running out of storage space, like, immediately?
Yeah, managing the data deluge is key. This NVR uses a whole suite of compression technologies. You see terms like Ultra 265, H265, H264, even MJPEG. Think of these as ways to intelligently shrink the video files without losing noticeable quality. Ultra 265 is Uniview's own version, building on the H.265 standard. It's designed for deep compression. It can cut bandwidth and storage needs dramatically, sometimes by 70 or 80% compared to older methods, while keeping the video looking great. That's absolutely vital if you need to keep recordings for weeks or months.
Okay, so it squeezes the files down. What about the actual physical storage? How much can it hold?
It's pretty robust there, too. It has space for 2 internal hard drives, 2 SATA interfaces, and each of those can support a drive up to 16 terabytes.
16 terabytes per drive.
Per drive, exactly. So you're looking at a potential total of 32 terabytes of internal storage. Combine that massive capacity with the efficient Ultra 265 compression, and yeah, you could be looking at storing months, maybe even a year or more, of that ultra-high-def footage, depending on the number of cameras and settings. That's a huge deal for businesses or organizations that have regulations about how long they need to keep video.
Okay, this is where I think it gets really fascinating. It's not just a passive box recording video anymore. The sources say the NVR502-16B-IQ has smart video analytics. It sounds like the NVR is actually, well, thinking about what it's seeing. What does that mean in practice? Things like intrusion detection, line crossing, face detection, people counting. How do those work? And what do they offer that just watching the video wouldn't?
That's a great way to put it. It is sort of thinking. It's moving beyond basic motion detection, which can trigger on anything, like swaying trees or shadows. These analytics are more sophisticated. Line crossing detection, for example. You draw a virtual line on the screen in the setup. If someone or something crosses that line, say, entering a restricted area, the NVR can trigger an alarm, send a notification, start recording at a higher quality, whatever you configure, instantly. No need for physical sensors.
Okay, like a virtual tripwire.
Exactly. And intrusion detection is similar, but for a defined area or zone. People counting can be really useful in retail, like you mentioned. Track how many people enter and exit, maybe see peak times. That's not just security data, that's business intelligence. Our sources also mention human vehicle detection. This helps filter out those false alarms I mentioned. It focuses alerts on actual people or cars, which is much more efficient.
Yeah, that makes sense. Fewer false alarms means you pay more attention to the real ones.
Precisely. And things like heat maps can show patterns of movement over time, visualizing busy areas. Though it's worth noting, some of the really advanced analytics might depend on the specific camera model being used too. They work together.
And what about compatibility? If you don't have all Uniview cameras?
Good point. The NVR is listed as fully ONVIF compliant. ONVIF is an industry standard. That means it should allow for seamless integration with third-party cameras that also follow the ONVIF standard. That gives you flexibility, protects investments you might have already made in other cameras.
Okay, so it's smart, it sees in amazing detail, it stores efficiently, and it can work with other gear.
Yeah.
But how do you actually use all this? Getting the video out, managing the system, how does it handle that side of things?
Right. Accessibility and control are crucial. For local viewing, like in a security office, it has dual HDMI and VGA outputs. The HDMI can go up to 4K resolution, the VGA up to 1080p. This means you can hook up multiple monitors simultaneously. Maybe one showing a grid of all cameras, another focused on a specific event. Gives you that comprehensive view.
And for network and remote access.
That's where the bandwidth figures come in. It supports incoming bandwidth up to 160 mbps. That's the data coming in from the cameras. And outgoing bandwidth up to 128 mbps. That's for sending video out over the network, for remote viewing or playback. Those numbers are pretty solid. They suggest it can handle all 16 high-res streams coming in and still provide smooth remote access without stuttering or lag, which is essential, obviously.
Yeah, nothing worse than choppy remote video when you need to see something.
Exactly. And then there's the mobile access. Uniview has an app called EZView. This lets users connect remotely using their smartphone or tablet. They can watch live video, review recordings, even change some system settings, basically from anywhere with an internet connection. That's huge for convenience and staying informed.
Okay, so connectivity seems well covered.
Yeah.
What about other ports and physical stuff?
Yeah, it has the practical things too. It looks like 2A USB 2.0, 1i USB 3.0, useful for backing up footage to an external drive or connecting a mouse for local setup. And importantly, 2A RJ45, 101, 1000 MEPs network interfaces, dual gigabit Ethernet ports. That allows for redundancy or load balancing on the network side, which adds to reliability. Plus, it's rated for a decent operating temperature range, -10 degrees C to 55 degrees C, so it should be fine in most indoor environments, maybe even some sheltered outdoor spots.
Okay, we've really dug into the tech specs and capabilities of this NVR. It's impressive stuff. But let's zoom out a bit. Our sources connect this NVR to a company called Alpha Vision. They're presented as being involved in transforming construction using AI. And it seems they feature or maybe integrate this specific Uniview NVR. What does that connection tell us? How does a piece of hardware like this fit into that bigger AI-driven picture?
Ah, yes, that's a really critical piece of context. It suggests this NVR isn't just being sold as a standalone security box. When a company like AlphaVision, which explicitly focuses on AI agents and workflows for industries like construction, features this device, it implies the NVR is a key data source for their AI systems.
So the NVR gathers the high-quality video, maybe does some initial analytics.
Exactly. It provides the clean, detailed, potentially pre-analyzed visual data that sophisticated AI models need to function. Think about construction sites. Alpha Vision could be using this video feed, captured by the NVR, to monitor safety compliance, track progress, manage assets, optimize logistics, all powered by their AI analyzing the video streams. The NVR's ability to handle high resolution, compress efficiently, and perform the smart analytics we discussed makes it an ideal front end for such systems.
And Alpha Vision participating in GSX 2025, a big security show, reinforces that connection, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. It shows they're serious players in integrating advanced surveillance tech with AI for security and operational purposes. And the price point mentioned, around 809 USEOD, makes this NVR accessible. It's powerful enough for these AI applications, but not prohibitively expensive, allowing companies like Alpha Vision to potentially deploy it as part of broader scalable solutions. It really bridges traditional surveillance and cutting-edge AI.
So wrapping this up, what does this all mean for you listening? We've gone from thinking of an NVR as maybe just a recorder to seeing this Uniview model as a really capable device.
Yeah.
High-res video, smart storage, actual analytics happening inside the box, and its role feeding potentially transformative AI systems from companies like Alpha Vision. It's definitely not just about recording video anymore, is it? It's about intelligent data, efficiency, getting proactive insights, maybe even from your phone. It really shows how everyday tech, or what seems like everyday tech, is getting so much smarter and more integrated, way beyond what you might first assume.
Indeed. I think this deep dive into the Uniview NVR502-16B-IQ really underscores that shift. The future of surveillance, it seems, is much less about just passively watching and far more about active automated intelligence. The combination of ultra-high-def video, powerful compression to handle it, and the layer of smart analytics on top that makes devices like this fundamental. Fundamental for security, yes, but also increasingly for operational efficiency and business insights. So maybe a final thought to leave you with. Considering these capabilities, this sharp vision, the onboard intelligence, and how it plugs into bigger AI solutions, how might our whole idea of security or monitoring keep changing? Could it move beyond just protection towards genuinely predicting issues or optimizing processes in ways we haven't even really thought about yet? What new possibilities or maybe even new questions does that raise for you in your own world?